This is Jaya from vitalcoaching.com. The topic for this video is how to integrate galactic frequencies in your daily life. We are talking about something which is much more than simply, opening to space. We are talking about this process of spiritual awakening that happens in your field, and then how to bring that back into the world. Because if you don't bring back all that into the existence, into your body, into your mind, into your practices, into what you do on a daily basis, you are going to go into what we could call abstraction or avoidance. You are going to start stepping into this space where you feel resentment towards the world and you don't know how to integrate all this juiciness and all this beauty and all this new frequency into your world, into your life. So, very often what you see in the world when you start waking up is like, my God, you see the shadows, you see the frames, you see the limitations, you see the lack of freedom, you see the imperfections, you see the traumas and basically all this shadow field that might be really shocking to wake up, especially when you start tuning into this light frequency where everything becomes really pure and beautiful, and you feel all these, dream-like visions about what our planet and humankind could look like, and then you go back into the world and it can be shocking. This happens also when you go on retreat, for instance, if you are spending time doing yoga somewhere in paradise and then you go back to your world, back to the matrix, back to the stress and pressure from work and from society and from people in your life. So the idea here is not to abstract, okay? It's not to suddenly step out of life and go into this, dream world where you feel completely disconnected from reality. It's actually the opposite. What we want is to tap into that reality and then bring all that into embodiment in your field. A little bit like what I'm doing here. I'm integrating all that, integrating that wisdom, and then bringing this back into the world, which is, money exists, politics exists, there is relationships, there is sex, there is family, there is education, there is all these things. How do we generate energy on this planet? How do we relate to the world, to the environment in our field? So, this idea of integration and bringing back, it's a very core aspect of what I teach or what I want to bring into this world. If you don't, again, you are going to abstract and feel really enter into this kind of hybrid state where you have a physical body living on this planet, but at the same time you feel really frustrated and you keep on telling people around you that you feel like you don't belong here. Well, the thing is that your body is right here. You do belong to this planet. You, at least a part of your being, has been incarnated over here, and it is your job to bring these frequencies all the way down into incarnation so that you can, through your actions and activities and awakening, bring a sense of freshness and clarity into this planet and humankind. So one of the way you can look at it, or the code word for that, I would call that life optimization. It means that you bring all that wisdom, and then you start applying it, applied wisdom into your daily life. So avoid the escapism trap. Don't get abstracted into this reality without being able to function back into this world. So bring back consciously into patterns that are going to serve you, serve the planet, and optimize your relationship to life, to your body, and to your family and people around you. So the idea is to thrive on this earth. We can call that also matrix integration. When you see the Matrix, these movies, and you look at it, you think that the Matrix is a bad thing, right? That it's really this dark prison that we live in, and part of it is shadow, but part of it is light. There are lots of structures that are established on this planet that without them the world would collapse, society would not be sustained. So those frames and those guidelines, or these guidelines of incarnation for us as human race, are very important. So some of it is evolving. It means that we are rising our frequency, and in the process of rising this frequency, the patterns that are no longer adapted or are no longer a reflection of our advancement as a human race are going to slowly be dissolved, diluted out of human consciousness and replaced by new patterns that work better But the idea, is like, who is going to do that? It's you. It's people like you. You are awakening. You are realizing that, new ideas come into your field. You are going to go into politics, into business, into helping people and helping yourself, so that you develop ways of relating to this planet that work better than the old model. This is how the new programs are established. When we talk about new codes for the planet and humankind, you are integrating those codes, and then you bring that back into creation, into the world. And some of the things that you are going to find inside of you are things that are outdated, certain patterns, certain emotions, certain reactions, maybe complaining too much, maybe victimizing, and you go like, okay, well, that's a little bit immature. I can function from a frequency now that is higher, and I want to be able to tap into that. So you start rising your frequency, you start understanding the places where you can make core shifts into your own life, in the way you relate to yourself, to your life, and then you start transmitting that to the rest of the world and the planet in the form of the activities, in the form of what you do. Even, I don't know, you might be a lawyer, for instance, realize that there are aspects of the legal system which are really corrupted and don't function, then who is going to change that? It's you, it's people like you, it's politicians, people who are active in those fields, who suddenly get insights about new change that can be implemented on the planet, and then we start rising as a human race. And yes, you're on this planet, you are physically embodied, and yes, you can abstract, you can go back to living in some distant cave, or isolating yourself from the world. It's possible. You can do that, and I feel that right now our job, in the integration of this, what I call these galactic codes, then, bring them back into the world and serve the planet and humankind, enter in service. And it's very challenging to do that if you are facing too many challenges in your own field. It means that the first step is really individual optimization. Individual optimization means that you optimize your relationships, your family life, your dating life, your relationship to the opposite sex or to the same sex, if you are, for instance, gay, but basically this is, the mastery of your sexual energy and how you use that energy in your field. The second one that I mentioned before, is the body, the relationship to your body, what you eat, your diet, nutrition, how you train, how you use your body. Are you in health? Are you crippled? Are you feeling like you're getting sick all the time, and so on? So the optimization of the body is a big one. The optimization of your mind, it means that your mind must be your best ally. Your mind is there to serve your evolution. It's not something that has to be working against you. So if you are trapped in thought patterns that are really negative and challenging, then of course it's going to alter your ability to function properly as a human being. And then, of course, there is the business relationship to money and all that, this matrix world precisely that we live in. How do you relate to that? How do you function in that? How do you survive in that? How do you thrive in this space? And then there is the spirit, the destiny line, your relationship to the invisible, the mystical pathways that you're engaged into. So optimizing all that, this is the path of life optimization. This is why I have a system that I call Tantrika training, which is exactly that: mastering your energetics, mastering your life with using the different tools that I teach. And then eventually you integrate all this galactic frequency, you bring all that back into the world, so that you are an embodied master in your life. Mastery doesn't mean perfection. It means that you simply reach a level of optimization in the 80 to 100% range. It means that most of the aspects of your life have been optimized to a certain extent. If you have lots of pain in your body, for instance, and your body functions at 40% of its potential, and of course you need to raise, the practices, what you do, how you use your body, so that you can really be optimized on that level. The same when it comes for instance, to relationships. You might be in a relationship right now that is extremely challenging, with lots of fight, lots of tension, extremely draining. The goal is to find maybe new communication patterns, new ways of engaging in sensuality and connection, so that you can really have a happy life on that level. You see, all that life optimization, life training, that's what I call Tantrika training. This is what I teach. And the goal is to bring, these core ideas and everything that we are transmitting or activating through these galactic codes, these new codes of evolution for the planet, humankind, bring all that back into the world, so that we are happy incarnated beings. And once you feel like you reach this level of optimization on a personal level, then we can start looking at collective optimization, which is, starting to influence and shift political systems and the way we relate to the world, the way we produce food, everything that we are doing as a society, then once you know yourself how to navigate your own life and you have a sense of mastery over your own microcosm and you know how you function as a human being, then you can start influencing systems that are vaster than yourself. But first, you know, you need to be in alignment with long-term values and values that really serve the long-term evolution of the planet humankind. You know, something that you can ask yourself is, if millions of people were doing what you are doing right now, would that be a better thing for the planet humankind or not? You know, and so this is a question that you can ask yourself. It is the idea that we are putting in place codes, behaviors, values that are going to uplift the planet humankind. This is not just about individual gain, okay? There is a purpose which is much vaster, which is a dharma or a destiny line for the planet humankind, and we are part of this stream. So if you start going against the current of human evolution, then obviously you are going to feel resistance, because the flow, the natural flow, is taking you the other way. So tune in, you know, harmonize, synchronize your vibration so that you can really enter into that state of energetic resonance where all these beautiful codes of galactic awakening come into your system and really incarnate themselves. You embody all that from a place of power, mastery, and then you start having an impact towards the world. I feel that this is a plan, you know, that's the vision that I have for myself. If you have a different vision about how to lead your life, that's fine, that's perfectly okay with me. You know, this is not a doctrine, it's more like an inspiration. And what I feel has been working for me and the clients or the people that have been helping over my life, when I see people struggling around me in their lives, you know, what I feel is that having new codes, having new ideas, new things come into your system will really allow you to raise your vibration frequency, and then, you know, this will align your destiny line. At some point, you will realize that you are done with your own process and it's time to serve and time to have an impact on the planet. But while you are in this cycle of integration, while you are in this cycle of optimization, then, you know, focus on that. Focus on optimizing first your system and your being, integrating these frequencies and understand the actions and the patterns that are associated with this high vibration. Because just thoughts or feeling energies is beautiful. It's already like, you know, opening to the divine and feeling that this potential. But then how do you bring all that into the world? You know, this is the idea. When you practice yoga, you know, hatha yoga, right? Physical postures. It's not about the physical posture. It's not about fitness. It's about preparing the body, optimizing the body, so that you can really integrate all these frequencies that you are tapping into, so that nirvana can open into your life and you can enter into this infinite state of bliss. So as human race, this is where we are going. You know, the ultimate goal is collective optimization. It means collective optimizing the countries, governments, optimizing the way we function as a human race. And where is it going to start? You know that, right? It starts with you. It's like, be the change that you want to see in the world. What does that mean? It means that first you need to integrate those values side of you, so that those values and those behaviors are really solid. How are you going to stop wars between two countries if you're fighting with your neighbor or your brother or your sister or somebody in your family or your close friends? Or if you are triggering fights all the time, it means that you don't have the codes to, you know, to optimize and bring peace into your own life. How are you going to to bring peace on a large scale? You know, if we want to generate peace and harmony on a large scale on this planet, we have to find out how to deal with our own shadows in our own microcosmic reality, and how to deal with direct conflicts that we might have with people around us. If you figure that out and you figure a way of honoring other people's opinions without forcing yourself into it, without controlling their lives, you know, then you figure that out. You figure the exact point of resonance where you shift the aggressive patterns and you replace that by respect and harmony. You do that on a small scale, and then you start transmitting that on a large scale. You know, I mean, this is just an example, but it's the same with relationship to food or to nature. If we want to have an impact and put in place models of evolution for the collective, we need first to identify how to do that in our own field. Makes sense, right? Oh my God, there is so much. 14 minutes of video. I hope, yeah, you feel inspired by all that. Feel free to post questions, send me messages. You know, I want to inspire you. I want you to know that probably we are on the same path. If you're watching this video, know that what you're facing in your life is not an illusion. There is some magic coming your way. Stay tuned, stay focused. Don't abstract into this other reality without realizing that you know, being in this physical body on this planet is a privilege. Integrate, don't abstract, you know, bring back into the world, optimize your life, reach out, look for help, you know, ask me questions. I would love to help you further. I love you. I see you soon.